Welcome to the Bog of the Forgotten in God of War 2.
Now, they do a pretty damn good job about making nice natural environments when the natural environments pop up.
Kratos, grab the chests. They're right there. They're like 10 feet in front of you. You can get them right now. Stop staring.
No, but look, I want to keep looking at that rock.
And also jitter around back and forth strangely. My body is shaking with rage.
What were you saying, Lewis?
No, the
Why
chest.
was the ground shaking just now?
Because the guy was galloping
Yeah,
behind him.
The centaur.
Oh, it was because. Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought his bottle was just freaking out. Okay. So, okay, what happens if you mess up with the quick time events here?
You just take damage at the start
Either
of
you
the
take
fight.
damage or you just straight up die.
Okay.
Is he
Those came out of his ass.
jet skiing along the floor?
Spread eagle.
Oh my. And in a bit of plot contrivance, it's the barbarian we killed before we got servitude to Ares. So we can tie up that plot point or something.
I guess. Like, the killing is the fact that his wife died, like, that seems to be, like, not really important anymore, you know?
Not really.
It's just a source of angst. I mean, you can only do so much with death before you have to pull the resurrection card to do any more.
And they're never gonna, like, bring Kratos' family back, because he doesn't deserve it.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes you can play around with the circumstances surrounding a death. Like when Naruto pulled the, hey, Itachi Uchiha was actually destroying the Uchiha clan on the Leaf's orders plot twist. But you can't actually, like, a death is a death, you know? It's one of the most certain things in the universe.
Unless you're in Dragon Ball.
Well, no, the only certain thing about death in Dragon Ball is that it's not permanent.
No, you can only get brought back once, Lewis.
Except for the Namekian Dragon Balls.
Or the new set of Earth Dragon Balls.
Yep.
Or the Super Dragon Balls.
Wait, there's Super Dragon Balls, as in they're better, or Dragon Ball Super's Dragon Balls?
They're planet-sized.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do people live on them?
No, they're just giant orbs.
Yeah, but you could say that about Earth, too. Earth's a giant orb.
It's my associate Gaku from Dragon Ball 4.
Dragon Ball Super sounds like it's really dumb.
It is very dumb.
At this point, would you say Dragon Ball Super over Dragon Ball GT?
Honestly, GT makes more sense in context of the series as a whole.
I like it more than GT, but that's not a very high bar.
Yeah.
You know,
It can make less sense and fit less while still being worse to watch. I think is another thing to remember too. Like, I'm trying to, like, for example, I don't really like Jurassic World, but Jurassic World makes less sense in the realm of Jurassic Park than Jurassic Park 3 does, but I'd still rather watch Jurassic World than Jurassic Park 3. Granted, I don't like Jurassic World that much at all, so I would rather just watch the original, but, you know, if I had to pick between the two...
Well, the reason Jurassic Park 3 makes more sense is because it's playing off what was left over by The Lost World, and The Lost World, for as bad a movie as it is, has a pretty good book attached to it. So...
Yeah, was Jurassic Park 3 based off of a book as well, or...
No. There are
Okay.
only 2 Jurassic Park novels.
Okay.
And the Lost Worlds book
Was kind of forced.
It was kind of forced, but it was also nothing like the movie.
Well, the first movie wasn't anything like the original
It was
Jurassic
it was close enough.
It was close enough, but it was also deliberately opposite in some regards. Almost sort of like the Full Metal Alchemist anime and the manga. Where, you know, the people who lived died in the movie, and the people who died lived in the movie.
tonally, from what I can tell, the book is much different than the movie for Jurassic Park 1.
Well, yeah, Michael Crichton, bleh, him. His writing style is very focused on the science.
Also, running gag.
It's the boat captain.
Everyone's favorite character.
They brought him back?
Yeah.
And do they bring him back in 3?
Sadly, he's not in 3.
Oh.
No, he's only referenced in 3. He's not. He doesn't actually make an appearance.
Oh, lame.
That's unfortunate. He could have been like Ratchet and Clank's plumber character. And for context, there's just one NPC in the Ratchet and Clank series that appears in like every game, and his appearances get more and more self-referential because the locations you find him in are more and more ridiculous. He's the plumber, and you always recognize him at first glance by the by his pants, the ass of his pants, because he's this fat blue guy.
It's really not so much of a hammer as he's a giant meat tenderizer.
Kinda, yeah. Well, he is trying to tenderize our meat.
Jake, you take your
I'm not gonna kink shame. But
you take your Kratos and you tenderize him before putting him into the oven at a nice 300 degrees.
Ryan, do you maybe want to rephrase that?
No, that's the joke.
Barbarian X Kratos OTP.
the TP stands for tenderizing penis.
Tenderizing it is the opposite of what you're trying to do in that situation.
Like, I mean,
And that quick time event just booted me out the second I started it. Okay.
I mean, Kratos could stand with being a little bit more tender anyway. So I mean,
that's why-
emotionally,
Find
not
a little
not.
tenderness.
That's why they gave him a son. And I'll reiterate, the scary thing about that is he'll probably still be a better father than Sasuke Uchiha.
I got your hammer.
Mine.
Nope.
Could
I
have
died.
gone better.
Well, that was okay. Thanks for tuning in to the God of War 2 commentary.
No, that didn't happen.
This game has a lot more boss fights than the first one.
Yeah, because that was one of the
Did the
complaints from the
barbarian
first
just illogically slide along the ground as he was hit?
game. Yes, he did.
I don't think that was
Ted,
supposed to happen.
There was what's funny, Tez? It's really easy to notice because God of War had only 2 boss fights entirely.
There was the Hydra at the beginning of the game, and then that one guy in the middle, in the
the
final
robot
boss.
zombie minotaur.
And then
Ares.
Ares.
Now, the meat tenderizer here is our heavy-hitting weapon, the replacement for the sword in the first game.
Yep. It's not terribly useful because once you upgrade the blades, they're doing just about as much damage anyway and are a lot faster.
The hammer is meant for bigger folk, though. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get some good knockback with it, but it's not as versatile as the blades. So
It has a great shockwave move.
I think this game has a quick switch. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Like-
one of the intentions for enhancing the combat compared to God of War 1 was making all of these sub-abilities and weapons easy to access so it doesn't interrupt the flow of combat. You may
Yeah.
notice that like the electrical attack in this game compared to the original doesn't keep you in place in one spot. You can still move while using it.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's still not as good as the original games.
In terms of just what you're getting out of it.
Yeah. In terms
There's
of
more utility.
Yeah, there's more utility, but you're not getting as much damage out of it, essentially. Like, Poseidon's Rage hit like
a truck, and it got you combos like absurdly fast, so you got more orbs.
Yeah.
But you also couldn't move.
Yeah. But it did, but that's not a big deal when you're killing everything before they have a chance to get to you.
Yeah.
It's just not as fun to play, in a sense, so...
Okay.
Yeah, so it's an odd case of something being simultaneously better and worse.
Well, generally, I prefer, when it comes to balancing stuff, this is more of a thing in, like, competitive games. But I tend to like it better when they don't just straight up nerf something. They change it and so that like it has a downside, but you also have this new thing to play with as well. So
Well, that's what they did with the lightning attacks here.
yeah. So it's not as strong, but you get a different utility out of it, which is more interesting than just this is weaker now, you know.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like is that, like, when you get an item in this game, you don't really... Like, the items are oddly insignificant, like... Okay,
They're
like
just there to open a door.
Yeah, it's like, you get a text message saying, hey, you got this item, right?
You
But
got a thing.
you don't have an inventory screen where you can look at the item and see things about it.
Yeah. So you're not sure what it does.
Yeah, it's like even Doom 2016 has that.
Yep.
Like, it's a bit of a pace breaker to stop and read it, but if it's there if you want it.
If you're pausing the
God of
game
War did have an
anyway.
inventory. If God of War did have an inventory pause screen, you pausing to look at what a key does. It's a key. What do you think it does?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's not. Yeah, but it's not just a key. It's often an item that has a mythological background, and that's interesting shit. They could have used the opportunity to slip in some actual educational material about Greek mythology in a fun
Attribution
context.
lessons with Professor Kratos.
This
Also-
is Zeus. Who
reference-
This is Zeus. Who took away my godhood and shall perish?
No, but you know, when that stuff comes up in a fun context, like a video game, it can get people interested enough to look it up on their own time, you know?
Yeah, you know, we
And
joke.
here is just a side thing. This is a reference to early development of God of War 1, where they had nothing but skeleton enemies, but they found that was too bland.
Because they were taking inspiration from Jason and the Argonauts, but they realized that fighting skeletons over and over again is kind of boring.
Yeah,
but they included them here just as a reference.
Yeah, but Lewis, you know, you're absolutely right about that, because, again, Age of Mythology, which is a spin-off of the Age of Empires series, had in it, like, almost an entire encyclopedia about all of the different gods and goddesses that were in the game, and, like, I don't know if you had to, like, once you encountered it in gameplay or something, it would give you the info, or if you just had to, like, look it up or whatever, but there was a lot of information about that stuff if you were actually curious and you wanted to know, like, hey, what was up with Odin or Loki or Zeus or whatever, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah, especially when when the game is based off of history, you kind of want that like actual historical information, you know?
Yeah, you know,
Like, if-
having at least a basic explanation of stuff, it allows it allows the player to seek additional context if they want it.
Yeah, like it makes me think of the Demon Compendium in any Shin Megami Tensei or Persona game,
Oh, yeah.
where you even just get like a paragraph about like, oh, this was a demon from such and such mythology. It
Yeah.
did this. You don't need to have more than like a paragraph, you know.
Oh, look at this guy going all Crash of the Titans on our ass.
Wasn't that another game that tried to be a God of War clone? Was the Crash
no.
games?
No, I wouldn't say
Tattoo
God of War
Crash?
clone. Crash of the Titans is a Crash Bandicoot, the first Tattoo Crash game, and it is more like a generic brawling platformer. But one of the identifying mechanics that they introduced was like were larger enemies that you could take over and control.
Oh, so it's a Sonic the Werehog clone then. Okay, got it.
It
Not
did
really,
it better than
but-
Sonic the Werehog. It did it a lot better than Sonic the Werehog.
That's really high praise though. Tattoo Crash, better than the Werehog.
Oh, it's not terrible. This is not amazing.
It's just not Crash.
Yeah, it's like if it was its own franchise, I could see myself maybe enjoying it, you know.
But then again, if it was its own franchise, nobody would buy it because nobody would have any reason to care. As
well,
That's true.
that was a bit of a thing. Yeah, a bit of a concern is that 3D platformers were on their way out at around that point. It wasn't a big genre anymore. People were tired of platformers. They were getting really into their Grand Theft Autos. That was the big genre. And we were slowly transitioning into the phase where first-person shooters were ruling the roost, too.
Yeah, when did Crash of the Titans come out? Like 2008 or so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was definitely around the time when the biggest games of the... I'd still say first-person shooters are still the biggest games of the coming out right about now, I would say.
Not as much as they used to, though.
Not
No,
as much as they
not
used
as
to.
much during the 360 or PS3 era.
Yeah,
Yes.
now it's more about the open-ended adventure game. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh geez, the genre that takes forever to play.
But I just like how as we grow older, we see those shifts in interests and genres and reflect on it back and how we're essentially at one point. Because I feel like with the resurgence of platformers, thanks in part to the indie scene and Kickstarter projects, we're living in we're getting close to some sort of renaissance.
We're getting close to a point where the gaming industry finally realizes that gamers have diverse tastes and that we should maybe make games of more than one genre at a time.
Yeah,
Yep.
but that's also what
What's that? More FPS?
what I think really what's made it better is that we there's more mid and small sized games being made where
Yeah, actually,
people care more about the not AAA things coming out.
Yeah, actually,
anymore.
that's relevant to what's going on right now. Ninja Theory recently released a game that was billed as being mid-sized, mid-priced, specifically with the intention of attempting to encourage the industry to make more short-length AAA games that are less high budget and less pricey for the consumer.
Yeah, the only place where you could really get those kind of games, like I'd say for the longest time, like between like 2000 and the past couple of years, was like if you played on handheld is where you would get those kind of things. Not ever on console until like the downloadable stuff became popular. I should stress.
Yeah. And it actually genuinely looks like an interesting game. I might get it when I get paid again. I forget what it's called, though. Hellblade or
Someone in the comments will tell us.
Something Sacrifice is the subtitle.
Ninja Theory, sacrifice something maybe.
It's by Ninja Theory, which is not the same as Team Ninja, by the way. And it's a realistic-looking AAA quality game that is sold for mid-price and is probably like a 1 or 2 sitting game, from what I understand. But they're so intent on this being a possible thing for game development and game developers in general that they actually included a sort of pitch about that idea in their trailer. Like, there was the trailer, and then there was a sort of a message from the developer talking about their intentions for the game. It is surprisingly earnest, considering the way the industry usually presents its ideas.
You mean buy it or else?
No,
I
pre-order.
mean,
No, Ryan, pre-order it or else.
I mean, like, with CG trailers and, exciting gameplay segments that tell you basically nothing.
Or my least favorite of them all, people pretending to play online. I'm so glad that was really only Ubisoft that did that. E3, if I remember correctly. And I'm so glad that people
They
realize
actually
that those
did that, huh? Oh, boy.
They've been doing that for like the past couple of years, and I'm so glad that they've pretty much stopped. So, because they realize that nobody buys it is the big thing. Like, nobody believes that there are actually people playing online and talking like this. So, yeah.
Yeah, they need to insert more 12-year-old racists insulting your mother.
Yeah.
I mean, to be more accurate, and we all know this, so...
Yep.
Yeah.
What the?
It's grappling.
You can spin around a grapple point?
On certain
Sometimes
points,
you don't
yeah.
have a choice. Sometimes
you don't have
have
a-
a choice.
No, you never have a choice. They're all certain grappling points.
Okay.
Yes,
You
it's
see,
very weird.
when I played this game, I think I stopped around the swamp when I got the hammer. So, I haven't seen anything past this point. It's all looking
So
very
those two
unfamiliar.
enemies fell off the rope and are now jumping around down there. If you saw it briefly.
It's like when you're playing Sonic and Tails gets stuck in a spike pit.
Yeah.
And he can't get back up. Actually, a funny story involving that. Because of the combine ring that they added, like, I lost all of my rings above a spike pit, and all of the rings fell into the spike pit, but Tails also fell into the spike pit, and
So he
wound
got
up
all of them for you.
accidentally picking up all the rings.
As he should.
Now we have enemies with explosives.
Man, I hate projectile enemies in these kind of games.
Well, that's when the game intends you to whip out your bow. Is pretty
Yeah,
much.
I
That's
know,
why
and
they're
that's what
there.
makes them boring. Although in this case, it seems like you have the alternative of...
Okay.
What the fuck? In this case, it seems like you have the alternative of destroying the pillar they're standing on and then taking them on. So
every once in a while,
it's not as
I get a really
bad
bad
in this
muscle
case.
spasm.
Oh, you can't knock this pillar down. Okay.
Apparently not.
But, like, there's nothing fun about whipping out a ranged weapon and taking down an enemy.
Sometimes it's just a matter of necessity, though. Like it's the only way you're gonna win.
Yeah,
so
I
you
know,
might
but
as
when
well
the game
do it.
forces you to do something blatantly uninteresting, it's... You know, I can't really get interested.
And this is me not figuring out what I'm supposed to do here.
Break the pillar.
Except you can't just break the pillar. You have to do something specific to it.
Why
See,
can't
now that you're close, it brings up the R1 prompt.
Yeah, why can't Kratos climb up that wall though? Is my question.
Gameplay segregation.
Also, that pillar should have crushed those guys, but whatever.
Eh.
A very common thing in PS2 games was big cataclysmic events that leave enemies untouched.
Yep.
Fuck.
I'm seeing some garbled video footage here. Did your video capture card
It looks
bug
fine to
out?
me.
No, just
Oh.
like just once every couple of hours it had like a warbled frame, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Not a big deal as far as what we're doing.
I seriously need to replace my my own capture card because that sort of stuff is becoming more common for me. I had to re-record a whole hour of Persona 5 because of it.